Rec League Podcast. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your family, tell your haters. Available on Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Radio Public, Good Pods, Pocket Casts, Breaker, Red Stitcher. At Rec League Podcast on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Threads at Rec League Pod on Twitter. Episode 138. Available now. Yo, whether you watching this from Facebook, Twitter, click the link in my Instagram, or YouTube itself. What up, world? I just watched The Quiet Place Day 1. It's obviously a prequel to A Quiet Place and A Quiet Place Part 2. It primarily stars Lupita Nyong'o and Joseph Quinn. Alex Wolff is in it for a little bit. And it is directed by Michael Sarnowski. I'm kind of blanking on dude's name, but I think that's what it is and how it's pronounced. He directed Pig with Nicolas Cage a couple of years ago. If you've seen A Quiet Place Part 2, you know the gist. Alien invasion, they attack based on sound. And day one, because we got a glimpse of day one of the other two movies, characters, cast. This day one is in New York City, the loudest place probably in the world. And it is the initial attack. And it's a whole community, city, population of people that don't know that they need to be quiet to be safe. And this is just their story. It is a quiet place, so the hype was there. And while I don't personally think it's as good as the first two, it is still very good. Lupita Nyong'o has not had a bad performance, ever. She always is on point. And it's kind of such a simple, detail, but instantly, this movie, the writing, gives you a reason to care and root for her character. I feel like I've watched so many movies recently where even franchises or just the brand recognition, just the title of the movie, the writers in the studio want you to care about the characters in it. And it's no, give me a reason to care. And this movie does. I don't want to say it's great, because nobody in her situation is in a great situation. But the writing does such a good job straight out of the gate of making you care for her character. And even the Joseph Quinn character. These are all plot points and details that I don't want to give away. But we meet the Joseph Quinn character and learn about him, and he's not in a bad situation per se. But when you're on the run from aliens and you can't really make a sound, you kind of feel for the guy. And it's we have learned through the original cast some weaknesses of these creatures. These new characters don't know the weaknesses. They don't know how to camouflage themselves, but we see them learn different ways, and in a city compared to out in the boonies, John Krasinski, Emily Blunt, they're in the boonies. They're in a quiet environment already. They just have to not make noise. The city, not even New York, if this was in LA, Dallas, Houston, Miami, Baltimore, DC, Chicago, Seattle, whatever, Toronto, London, Tokyo, whatever, that's already a noisy environment, period. period. So trying to be quiet and trying not to distract from the already ongoing sounds, it just adds so much tension. Like, the first movie come out in 2018, then 2021, now 2024. Over the past 6 years, these three movies have some of the best tension in cinema. There are, like, I don't know if it's really a knock, but I caught a couple horror movie moments. Like, couple, like, really, like, horror movie moments that you could say are cliche or whatever. It's not that I didn't like them, it's just that John Krasinski wouldn't have done those. And I didn't look it up before I hit record. I wonder if Krasinski wrote this movie? I guess aside from producing, like, was he on set, like, while he was directing If? Did he, like, come and, like, take a peek? I wonder, like, how hands-on he was making this prequel. I really enjoyed it. The most unrealistic part of this movie is Lupita Nyong'o's companion. And being that quiet, no, like, I have experience in that lane, and that is just not how that would have went down. And and these are PG-13 too. Like, you think horror, you instantly think it's R-rated. All three of these movies are PG-13, and they are all three expertly executed. So with all that being said, man, I will say that in my opinion, A Quiet Place Day One is dope. Have you seen A Quiet Place Day One, man? What you think? Positive, negative, somewhere in between? Let me know. I recently put up a review for the Bike Riders. Week before that, I watched Inside Out 2. Within the next 7 days, I might hit y'all with, like, a top 3 of the second quarter of 2024 and 3 other reviews within the next 7 days. Be on the lookout for all of it, man. Regularly Podcast, most recent episode, we talked about 1984 and just how dope of a year overall 1984 was, man. So like, subscribe, comment, find me where you find me, man. Don't know where to find me? Watch these credits. Peace.